Okay, woodworkers. So I want to cut down the length of this veneer a little bit, so I do need to do some cross cutting. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use my substrate as my guide. I'm not really concerned about squareness or accuracy as far as final length because I've got so much extra length on my substrate. I'll be able to trim this thing off where I need to. Okay, so kind of the same rule. I start with using the end of the board as a reference, and then you can see I'm already kind of through. If I were to continue to do this, my concern is going to be what happens with the veneer underneath my substrate and how that's going to tear out. So I want to come in and kind of cheat this cut a little bit, and I'm technically cutting the wrong direction for this veneer, but sorry, for the saw. But by doing this, I can cut this fairly cleanly and no tearing out or spelching for the veneer. So an easy way to do it really does make short work of this. I've never really had great success with using an X-Acto knife or a utility knife. I just find that those things are a little bit clunky, and I really prefer the flat reference of this saw opposed to having the double bevel that you get in a utility knife or an X-Acto, because that blade will start doing all kinds of things. It'll start cutting into whatever your guide is. Okay, same concept here. Difference now is I've put in a little tape for insurance, and it's always a good idea to tape up the ends of your veneer boards, or your veneer. If I don't do that, these are so vulnerable, and all it takes is just moving this around, getting it from A to B, and it could catch a corner, and then the whole thing can start to split. Kind of not the end of the world, but it's one more thing that I would like to be able to avoid if possible. So nothing different about the technique now. I'm going to go through everything the same way. This time I'm not going to score this other edge, which is probably not the best of practices, but see what I can do. Hopefully the tape will save me. And I didn't hear anything, and more importantly, you didn't hear me curse that I did do the splitting out. You can see this is what happens, but on a larger scale. If I didn't have that tape in place, that would really start to extend and ruin your day. Alright, I'm not sure if that's much better. But you could see where this did start to split at the end of that cut. It was right there. If I didn't have the tape, this could have been much deeper, much worse. But because, again, I've got extra width, this is how I'm going to do it. And at this point, now I'm ready to start preparing for laying down my adhesive, putting this thing down, and then clamping it up. Okay. That's probably all for now. I'll see you guys in a bit.